welcome back to another video. It's Brianna Ray from BriY here to bring you book folding. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but book folding is this kind of art style where you take like these hardcover books and fold each of the pages to kind of create this, I don't want to say illusion because it's not quite what it is, but just the visual of something like a word or a design, and it overall just kind of forms this really cool art piece. This was actually purchased for me by a friend back in high school, but this is kind of an example of what I wanted to do, and I came across a really cool tool for creating this yourself at home. So I thought, since I have a handful of proofs of the book that I wrote, my novel, just kind of laying around doing nothing but, you know, being old and kind of out of date and under edited, I thought it might be kind of cool to turn that into a piece of art, since it is not something that I can sell or that really I can read because it's like full of mistakes. So this is the proof of my book. So you can see that when I got this proof printed, it has this big band across this front that says not for resale, so it's not super pretty to put on display. And on the inside there's a handful of like formatting errors. So for book folding, obviously it's best to do a hardcover so that it can kind of stand up on its own. That was the important part here of doing these hardcovers right. My book has about 315 pages, but obviously every page is technically like 2 pages, so really this would only be like, I don't know, 150-ish folds. So like here, this one page is technically pages 1 and 2. So really, you're only doing like a handful of folds, like half the folds that you would normally make compared to the total number of pages in the book. So the tool that I found is, I don't even know what the website's called. Let me see if I can, it was someone's blog actually. I think a German blogger who has a really awesome tool that literally prints the directions for you on how to do a book fold. So I thought it would be kind of cool to do this kind of spade design. My book does cover the topic of asexuality, and this is a symbol of asexuality, so I thought it would be appropriate. So I went into the website. Let me see, I'm gonna actually just, put it right here. This is the website that it is at, or the name of the blog rather, and you can just put in like the size of the book, like what are the dimensions of the book, how many pages are there, and it will straight up just tell you page by page what to do to it, and it'll tell you where to do your top fold and where to do your bottom fold. And yeah, so I just have 2 sets of directions here, and obviously like there's some sections all the way in the back that you're going to fold back completely, and all the way in the front that you're going to fold back completely, so that it centers the design for you. I just think that's super awesome. This is a kind of visual of like how everything's going to look. So you can see here, like this every line is like its own page basically. So this is 150-ish lines. So here you're going to fold all the way down to that top bit and all the way from the bottom to this bottom bit, so that all that is left kind of visible on the outside is that shape. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm just going to kind of get started. And again, I'm going to link this tool if this is something that you want to do. Basically, you just upload your image. I just found this image online, uploaded it to the website, and it converted everything into this design for me. It was super, super convenient. All right, so I'm gonna get started with the easy stuff, which is going to be the folding back completely. So for the first basically 72 pages, which isn't really 72 pages, it's probably closer to 36 pages. So I'm gonna do 36 folds that just go back completely, because that is not a part of the design. So for that, I am going to start here, and I am going to actually fold. Oh my gosh, this might actually kill me. This is so hard to, like, I don't want to say mutilate books like this, but like I'm obviously not used to doing stuff like this. Oh, it stresses me out so much. It's a good thing that I know personally that this book is not going to be read by anybody else. All right, the first leg is done. These are all the fully turned back pages, and you can see how it kind of starts to fold out. Some of them aren't perfect, some of them are a little bit longer, which I mean is, not perfect, but again, for a first attempt, I think for like a learning experience, this is pretty cool. And I really like how like 3-dimensional this is. Like, maybe that's just me, but I do think that's really super cool. Now it's actually time to get into the design. So there's a couple different ways that I can do this. So I printed this sheet, this like visual guide that they gave me, in the same length of the page. So I should, in theory, be able to start at the very tip top, like line this up where these lines start at the top of the page, and it should go down to just about the bottom of the page. And basically what you would do is you would, like, find your line or whatever, and at least this is the way that I imagine doing it. I've never done this before, and I did not actually really watch any videos on like folding techniques or whatever. I'm kind of just making this up as I go. But, you know, if I would fold it like this. So there we have that first line lined up all super nice and straight, right along the edge. So then you would go up to your page. Obviously I'm going to start mine at the tip top here. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to mark on the page where I'm supposed to fold to. So all lined up, that is the part that is going to stick out so we can see it as a part of our design. I marked it there and at the bottom. So all I would have to do, and I've been kind of folding in this way, like folding back toward me instead of underneath. So then I would theoretically just fold it so that it marks there, and then fold the bottom part up so that it stops there. And then this little like sliver is going to still be visible on the outside. The other option, of course, involves a ruler and using these measurements. Now I have a ruler. I don't think it gets this precise. So I'm going to be using this method and kind of folding and marking. That way everything kind of evens out. But you're probably wondering, okay, well, like why are some of these like gray and some of them not? What am I gonna do when I have two sections? Like, you know, if I have to fold this to be out and fold this to be out, well, you don't. It alternates, so you never have to kind of have like this top portion and this bottom portion facing out at the same time. So because even though like in the original design, these things all line up and this goes right underneath this, it'll alternate. So you're gonna do part of the top and then part of the bottom and then part of the top and then part of the bottom. So at no point are you going to have to like contort the paper in a way that you are not folding it more than, you know, twice. So another thing that I want to do right now, just to kind of make my life a little bit easier, and since I actually have my guillotine cutter out, I'm going to cut this top edge off. That way it's easier for me to see if it is lined up. Here we go, just like that. So now I can just line it up to the top edge instead of having to kind of feel for it and hope. That way, all totally perfect. I'm also going to film the first couple of folds just to be, you know, on the up and up. I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it back almost like a triangle up until it hits this point. There we go. So you can see I kind of lined up this triangle fold with that marking that I made, and this is not going to be perfect by any means. Like this fold is not going to be like a perfect right angle or anything. As you can see, it kind of angles up, and that's totally fine. All that matters is that that appropriate size like section is showing for the start of our spade. I folded up to the next visible line, obviously quite a bit bigger. So I'm going to kind of push this out of the way, line this up with the top of the page, and it needs to go there and there, and do my little triangle fold. Obviously kind of lining it up with the line, and boom, and now we have like our first kind of set start of that like rounded edge. You can kind of see really close in the details here that some of these lines are like darker, like these grayer, slightly grayer, or this is like a gray line compared to these like super dark black lines. That is every 20 pages. So right now I'm on page 80, or like 79 I guess, because the back is 80. There you go. So it's an easy way to like keep track and just make sure that you're at the right place in the folding and you don't skip any pages, is just to kind of double check those every so often. So yeah, let's keep going. Alright, we're going to take a quick break in the hyperlapse for me to explain something that I kind of messed up the first time I did it. So this is actually so far down on the page that, you know, just folding it like in the corner like you would normally doesn't go all the way down. So I kind of came down here and I folded just where it would go, kind of hard, and then I made this, like folded this guy back up like a really harsh diagonal instead of like that nice like straight line that we normally do, just so that it kind of pops out at the right spot. All right, I haven't set it up or done anything yet. I kind of can have an idea of how close to good and perfect it looks from the side. I am very impressed with how it looks as it is, but I'm gonna kind of set it up and I'm gonna fluff it out a little bit. There we go, that's a little more like it. I'm actually really impressed with the way that this turned out. I think I even struggled when I picked this design, and I know I did, that I thought it was too thin and I wanted something really wide that was going to stretch across the book, and I kind of figured this was going to be an issue with doing this particular design. But the way I kind of got it to lay flatter is I opened it up and I started like really pushing on these, kind of like, you know, I don't want it to sit flat, and it's not going to sit flat, so I really did go into all these like central pages especially and kind of pushed it outwards so that it had this effect. Obviously it looks a lot more open because the spine's been stretched a little bit. So that's really all it took, I think, to kind of give it something closer to the shape that I originally wanted. It is pretty well centered, all things considered, and I can definitely tell that it is a spade. It makes sense. It looks pretty close to the original image. I mean, look at that, and then that. Yeah, it took almost 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours. Probably in total spent maybe 25 to 30, I would say, like, yeah, 25 to 30 minutes on the folding, maybe 40 minutes if I'm like doing my math ridiculously wrong. And the rest of it was really just about measuring. And the folding, I think, helped line things up a little bit better, but it was a little more time effective to just start sticking it underneath and then drawing. Like, I kind of stuck it in here like this and lined it up to the line and then marked that way. That looks kind of cool. Huh. But yeah, that's really how I did it, and it can be done in whatever way is easiest for you. I think something else I noticed is like the marks. When I made the marks on the sides here, it kind of made, you know, the shape on the outside. So drawing it on the edges probably would help if you like didn't necessarily want to do a big thing like this and like do all the printing and whatever. If you want to do a simple shape like a heart or something that doesn't have these kind of like breaks or holes in them, I would say you should be able to just kind of draw a heart on the side of the book, like just on the pages, and then kind of fold where it is marked on each page and have a similar effect. But again, this is a little bit more precise and a little bit more direct. So I don't know, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys thought this was interesting. I hadn't done anything like this. I've never done anything like this on my channel before, and I thought it would be super fun, and it kind of was. It was a nice way to spend an afternoon, watched a little Netflix, and now I have this cool like display piece, and I think that's awesome. I decided to grab like these very base pieces and kind of low-key hot glue it to the outside, and it definitely made it look a lot better. It kind of stretched it from the outside but still kept the design, so now it looks a lot wider. So that helped. I just kind of glued it to the very like tippy tips pages so that it spreads them out a little bit more and it looks a lot better. So in case this is something you were thinking about doing, maybe do a little dab of Gorilla Hot Glue so that it's nice and strong. That way when you open it up, it widens up as much as you would like it to from the center design, instead of having to worry about like how wide it is with these side pages. So thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, feel free to like and subscribe. I do put out new videos every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I would love for you to be here for the next one. Thanks again so much, and I hope to see you then. Bye!